Hi, we are back with the second lesson or the first lesson, depends on what you count, for Godot 4.0.2. Actually, we can call it Godot 4 since 0.2 is just like maintenance releases to fix out bugs. So for today we will start on talking about basics, and I will gonna show what some visual stuff does, like some panels that are shown in the previous video, and you will build upon that knowledge. So I must mention that Godot's basics are so intertwined with each other that I will need to leave some parts not filled out because they are so interconnected that I will gonna connect them as we go along. So today we will talk about nodes. Nodes are essentially building blocks of every game created by Godot. Everything in your game will be an actual node that has special functions. So what's a node? Node can be considered as a building block. Some of them have special functions, special qualities such as displaying image. However, we can say that each node has one singular purpose in a game. That makes them modular, and that actually simplifies the game creation experience, since other game engines use game objects as a concept, where game object can have multiple components, which I think kinda makes it complex. So nodes just represent some functions, some specific functions, how will I compose functions, and that's where scenes come in. Scenes are a node hierarchy. I must show you actually an example for that. I think I created a little diagram here, and here, as you can see, this is the scene root, and it can have children inside it. So these are its children, and a children can also have its own children inside it. So having like this hierarchical relationship actually helps for creating a game, and actually these relationships have special like features as well. I must say that this child actually inherits some properties of this parents in order to make them a parent-child relationship. Those properties might be position in the game world and process mode, depending on what have it set up. Actually, I'm gonna show it in momentarily, and other stuff we will talk about in later. So, firstly, let us create an actual node via creating a 2D scene. It creates a node 2D. It's a node. We can see it. Look, it is in here. This is how it's represented. As you can see, hover over, it says node 2D, and it's a node. It's just a position, like it does not have any functionality yet, but it has a position in the game world and some other properties. Let's go over them. So this is transform. It has a position in the game world, rotation, which can be actually changed, scale, which is 1:1, skew. Actually, this is a relatively new property. And we have visibility, whether it's visible, and modulate is just like playing with the color of the node. However, this would not affect this one because it does not represent a visual element, which we will try to accomplish in this video. Yeah, I will show that it momentarily. And there is like show behind and some other properties, and light mask. This is a feature in Godot where you can actually have lights in your game just like in real world. And ordering, it includes z index and z as relative. There is texture, filter, if you want to add any filter to the texture of the node. And I want to mainly talk about the process, which is an important property. As you can see, I'm using the inspector for actually viewing these properties of the node, which I talked about in the last part. The process is the thing that whether the node is processing. So as we try to implement pausing functional to our game, we will go over this, but actually you can toggle whether a node should process. So would it need to run its function? Would it need to maintain itself in a manner that, how may I say, should it respond to other scripts and else? For a node, what we can do, we can actually rename the node via just double click on it, clicking enter while it's selected, and let's rename it to like my scene Ruth. So if we want to add another child to it, actually we can just click on plus, and here is our node selector. This is a very useful actual window because it has all the nodes grouped inside with relative inheritance. Here are some examples. There's actually a bunch of examples of nodes, but we will mainly focus on 2D because we are aiming to create a 2D game. So I want to talk about actually a great node that is called Sprite. So Sprite 2D. Let us read the functionality of the Sprite 2D. General purpose Sprite node. So Sprite, I know it's a kind of drink. However, in game industry, it's used for a visual image that is displayed on the game. So it is used in other places, but other game engines as well, and it's good that we mention it here. So let's call it my sprite, and so we have a texture property. Since we do not have a texture inside of it for now, it is most appropriate for we to actually use a texture here. Let's go to here, and we can just select the texture from here. Just go over. Okay, so hold on. Let's just select a random. Let's just actually take this and drag this to our resources, and as you can see, it is added as a resource since it's just an image file that we have taken from Kenny. Kenny is a cool like asset creator that creates some kind of cartoonish assets, but it's very nice for actually these kinds of stuff, and you might be able to create a game with it. So if we drag this asset to our texture property, here we go. As you can see, actually the Sprite 2D node is populated, can display the texture. So let's go to the top bar and select move tool, and let's move this to out of this, and as you can see, my scene is here, and I want to show you inheritance because look, if I move this, as you can see, its children is moving relative to its parent. So that's a cool relationship example that we can show. Also, let's show angle because angle is cool. Like transform, generally transform is used for inheritance. So let's look. As I increase and decrease the slider, it actually rotates. It like rotates itself and makes the child positioned relative to it. So let's just make it 0. And another thing I want to show you is that let's go to the visibility tab and let's tick off visibility. As you can see, it also inherits the visibility attribute from its parent. So it can actually inherit many attributes from its parent. Process mode, I cannot show it right now since it involves code and actual processing, actual writing. So that's the case. For modulate, we can show it. So let us modulate its color with a new color. Since it is now currently modulated with white. White is just combination of all colors, so it won't affect. However, let's try blue. As you can see, it actually like puts a blue, I wouldn't say light, but it modulates its color according to the color specified. Let's make it actually white. so that it would become normal. These attributes are also present in our own children, my sprite. Let's go here and let's not play with the process. Let's say visibility. Let's take that off, and it's gone. Take that on. It's here. Let's modulate its color with yeah, orange. As you can see, it got hotter. Actually, I want to ask you something that I am not planning to use Kenny's assets to create a tutorial to create a full-fledged game. For this tutorial wise, however, if you want to like make us progress through creating a game, that would be fine for me. However, of course, we can progress via, how may I say, just picking up random assets and use them to teach stuff. So it would be your preference. So actually the position, it's a, I must explain this further because position is the position relative to its parent. So there is an attribute that's called global position that refers to the game world where the origin is 0. However, for position attribute, the position is taken relative to the parent. So that's the thing you must look for, especially while you are programming in GD script, which we will be talking about its basics on, I think, another lecture. So look, we can actually edit this. So for instance, let's make look, I want to show you another thing as well. Actually, you can do operations in this inspector. For instance, let's say divided by 298 divided by 2 with just like dash 2, and look, it just makes the calculation and assigns it, which is cool. Let's, for instance, make it times 3, and here we go, it does it. So let's actually like make some also like 2. No, it doesn't. So just like for operations, like for instance -4 -4 -8, voila, and that kind of stuff. Actually, I must mention that Godot, I don't know why, I think it's an internal engine, how may I say, feature or preference, but in Godot the y-axis goes positive as you go down and goes negative as you go up. So let us like show that -20, and as you can see, it got up, and say 20 and it got down. So that would be the basic. There is actually a lot of node that we can talk about. I just want to mention another one for the sake. Actually, the node hierarchy that we are doing is not right for now, but let's go with it. So I want to show you actually collision shape 2D. This will be a further explained while we deal with physics. However, let's just call it my collision. Okay. So actually you can set up a collision shape with it. So let's select the shape, which is, let's select rectangle, and actually we can configure it based on our needs. Probably you will make it in 0, 0 for conveniency, but we can do it like that. So I want to show 2 more stuff, then let's leave it. So the first thing is that when you create and edit a scene, you must save it to your disk, to your project, which we can do with Command S, or just like save, right click, save. And actually if you don't save it and try to exit the project, it will prompt you to save the scene. So look, it populated the name with the scene root node, and let's save it to our project, the main project, save, and as you can see, it pops up right here. So the cool thing is that actually we can instantiate. Look, I created a new scene with the plus icon in here. the cool thing is that, hold on, let's rename this also, my to scene. The cool thing is that if I click on this connect button, I can actually connect another scene to this scene. So I just instantiate, I said, hey Godot, I want to use this scene inside another scene, can you just give it to me? And it said sure. So I have another scene inside another scene, and as you can see, all of its contents is actually replicated to here. So that's the power of scenes, and that's what will be used in our game. Of course, this has the properties of just like the other one. They can be edited via code or via the inspector, and that's all, I think. Yes, I think that would be set for this video. Thanks for watching me.